Hey guys, this is Light, and welcome to my end of season tier list. And it's been a while since I've made one of these, and a lot has changed that I haven't covered, so we're going to treat this video as if it's like a new tier list video pretty much. And we're going to go through every individual unit, what they do, what they're for, etc. And let's talk about the tiers. So, tier 0, pick or ban. This means that if you're not gonna pick this unit, or if you're not first pick, you should probably pre-ban them, especially if you don't own them. For example, if you aren't first pick and you're like a more aggressive player, or you're any kind of player, like it would be a very good idea to pre-ban Lady of the Scales. But if you are first pick, then you can leave her open and pick her yourself, etc. But basically, out of these four, they're definitely the strongest units in the game, and you either want to play around pre-banning them or picking them yourself. So yeah, it just depends. I know a lot of people can't stomach free Ren, a lot of people can't stomach Renek, other people don't care, but it just depends on how you play. Like these are for like pre-banning these are for very different reasons. So yeah, tier 0, pick or ban. That's pretty much it. The highest priority units in the game. And let's see, we have S tier. These units, you will probably see these units every single game for one reason or another. And yeah, they're just really solid, and the meta kind of revolves around them. And Bellion is only here because if you're fighting Freeren, you have to pick Bellion, and Bellion press Freeren is a really strong combo because it takes away her biggest counter. So yeah, and then we have another S tier. So these units are cleave openers that you put on the third slot, and ideally you only pick them when Harseti is pre-banned. And yeah, when Harseti is pre-banned, they are majorly threatening. And then for A tier, these are like the most common units that you're gonna pick like in the middle of your draft between picks 2 to 4, pretty much. And then we have the late picks. These are pretty much the common counter picks that you'll see in the meta right now. And yeah, they're all decent units. Then we have B tier. This is basically the same thing as A tier, but they'll be much less common than like the A tier units, because like they have like extremely specific roles and stuff. So yeah. And my tier list is structured this way to give you an idea of what units to prioritize when building them. Like of course you want all you want as many of the A tier units and up built as possible, because like they'll give you the most options. And RTA is about having like a pick for any situation basically. So yeah, and then let's get into why the units are good. So tier 0, pick or ban. Let's start with Arunka. Arunka is still a menace from last season. Um, Arunka is one of the only units that can kill Freeren with her Rocket Punch. Like if you're very high defense Rocket Punch, you can one-shot Freeren with a defense break. But also she's insane for like people of all playstyles. Like slower players will want like Rocket Punch Arunka, but faster players, honestly, you can go like Giga Tank Arunka with Proof of Valor or Noble Oath, and you just have a complete wall, and then your super DPS will just kill people while you just like tank the enemy. Arunka is just a really annoying unit to deal with, and the frenzy helps her a lot. Like ER frenzy, defense frenzy, like the frenzies help her quite a bit. So yeah, she's still really annoying. However, she is weak to AoE, but she's still very hard to deal with if you're not just straight cleaving people. So which is why we're gonna figure in tier 0. I think Arunka is less of a deal if you are a cleaver yourself. But if you are not a cleaver, she's still complete aids to deal with, unfortunately. But yeah, Arunka is super strong. Yeah, so if you're a turn 2 player, And consider building your Runka on Rocket Punch. If you're a cleaver, consider building her super tanky to protect your team. Or if you're a cleaver, you can still go Rocket Punch or Runka so you can kill people's free runs. It depends on playstyle, but it's I guess it depends on preference actually, but it's up to you. Both the builds are super strong. And then we have Renek. Renek is still like, you know, the queen of speed. If you're an aggressive player and you like to pick stuff like Ahmed, Lilius, and Bryceria, like the cleave openers, you need to either pick Renek or ban her, because racing Renek with these units is extremely cope unless you are, you know, majorly gear gapping people with like a 320C Lilius or something. So yeah, for like your standard, for aggressive players who don't have much speed, I would highly recommend just pre-banning Renek. And yeah, she's a huge pain for slow players too, because, you know, she's very fast, she's very tanky, she's very hard to kill, and she makes your team weaker over time, and she just murders you. If you're a slow player, she'll murder you eventually, but some people are willing to fight her because of Maid Chloe mitigation. I personally think Maid Chloe is not enough, but again, it is preference. If you think you can deal with Renek, then like go for it. But she is a menace to every kind of player except the player who has infinite speed gear. So yeah, she's still really strong. You know, very hard to race, does a lot of damage, is guaranteed to kill you. Yeah, super strong. Then we have Lady of the Scales. This unit is something special. She makes cleavers unkillable. Yeah, she just makes cleavers unkillable. She makes everyone unkillable as long as you have a good front line. And she's pretty ridiculous. I think she's the most annoying unit to fight for sure. Do I think she's like absurdly broken? I think the Scales' only drawback is that unless you're being aggressive with her, she's slightly weaker. But also, everyone is a lot of people are playing fast right now, so she's just a huge menace most of the time. I wouldn't recommend leaving her open unless you were first pick. But also, if you're a slower player, she's not as good for you because you won't be able to like abuse her as well as like cleavers. It's up to you though. I know a lot of turn 2 players will ban Scales no matter what pick they are because they don't want to pick her herself. That's perfectly understandable. But if you are an aggro player, she is definitely the best anchor in the game. If you are very aggressive, I would recommend not pre-banning her as first pick, but definitely pre-banning her as second pick. Because being aggressive on this unit is kind of impossible. So yeah, absolutely tier 0 unit. Then Freeren's the best damage dealer in the game. She has unlimited damage. She's very hard to kill. It forces you to pick very specific units like Bellion and other units that you would rather not pick. I think she's just too strong overall, especially if someone pre-bans Bellion. I know a lot of slow players will opt to pre-ban Freeren because, like, you know, being forced to deal with her is just not very fun. And like she can be early picked in any aggressive draft. Like she has huge synergy with Ahmed because of her 50% CR push. And she also has huge synergy with Bryceria, who can pick Commander Pavel, and then Pavel will be able to proc from just Bryceria S3 if you have free runs, and that's a huge combo. I've made a video featuring that cleave, and it's really strong. And then of course, like, free runs also good with C Lilius, because, you know, she's just good. She forces you she forces your opponent to pick not so good units, and then you just kill them. Yeah, free run tier 0, best damage dealer in the game. No one can output as much damage as her. So she is pretty crazy, and also, yeah, very hard to kill. And then we have S tier. So the difference from this tier list and my last tier list was the balance patch, as well as the Ruo EE, and then as well as like the Laya and the Luluka EE. And what was included in the balance patch was, of course, Maid Chloe. Maid Chloe, very flexible unit. She's good in all playstyles. She can anchor your team down if you want to be really aggressive. I'm a huge fan of Ahmed plus Maid Chloe. It's very toxic. It's like she just keeps bringing your team back. And like same thing with Ruel. Candlestick Ruel has ridiculously low cooldowns. Like you can expect Ruel to S3 multiple times, and like it's horribly obnoxious. Like both Ruel and Maid Chloe are really strong right now because like a lot of people are playing hyper aggressive, and the best way to deal with aggression is by just bringing your team back. Like with sustain and like bringing your team back, right? So yeah, they're both really strong units, and yeah, they have insane sustain. I think they're very similar, but Ruel is definitely better against Cleave though, because like there's no way to stop Ruel from reviving someone except with Extinction, and like Extinction units aren't that good. Like they have a lot of counterplay, but yeah. Both S tier units very strong. If you're a slow player, consider picking at least one of them every single game. If you're a cleaver, you can anchor with them pretty easily. So yeah, very good units. However, if you early pick Maid Chloe or Ruel, we will be prone to getting Bryceria cleaved. But if you pick units like A Tywin and Blue Elena, like anything to stop the Bryceria AoE, then you're kind of golden. But otherwise, yeah, very strong units. And then of course we have Emerald Luna, super solid debuffer. A lot of units in this game are still weak to seal. She's a very menacing debuffer as always. And like with how prevalent Bellion is, she's even better. Like if Freeren is in the game, Bellion will also be in the game. And if you pick Bellion, that makes your Luna a really strong pick, because she'll be able to soul burn almost guaranteed. And then and yeah, she's just solid. Like Seal is very powerful. Like she makes Freeren killable. She makes Celine killable. Like Seal is just a really solid debuff still right now. And then Spirit Eye Celine, she is the premier damage dealer. She's the only damage dealer, she's one of the only damage dealers that can actually, fight Freeren. Because like she can just heal and like sustain Freeren. Sorry, she can revive and sustain Freeren's damage with her S1. Like Freeren will never kill her in a 1v1. And like she can just bring her team back. Like Celine is very good. There are a lot of anti-cleave drafts that revolve around putting Celine on 3. And she's also a very strong neutral damage dealer for cleave in general. A very strong unit. Has been consistently strong since her EE. Then we have the White Tenebria. The reason she's not tier 0 is because she just kills slow people. But if you're faster, you can just cleave her. If this thing is not pre-banned, I would always recommend picking this if you are a slow player, because you will get cleaved by her. Like, opener on 3 with Tenebria to pressure the other person with debuffs is a very common cleave. Like she's just an insane cleave tool, and she's like old DDR, where if you're a slow player, you're forced to pick her or you're gonna die. Of course, you can always like, buff stack and cheese her kind of, but there's counterplay to that, so it's not the most reliable. But yeah, Tenebria is super strong unit still. And she basically counters every single cleanser in the game, and it forces the other person to be really aggressive if they want to deal with it, or pick it themselves with it, which they usually do. And of course, like I said before, Bellion is here because, she's one of the only counters to Freeren. And if free run is in a game, Belian will also be in the game. And free run is almost always in the game unless she's pre-banned. So yeah, Belian is basically really good every game because of free run. And then we have the S tier when Hearthstone is banned. So when Hearthstone is pre-banned, the undeniable strongest draft is opener on 3 cleave. And of course these are the premier units for it. See Lilius, Ahmed, Bryceria. However, see Lilius is very hard to play unless you're extremely fast. But Ahmed and Bryceria, they do have a little bit more... They have a little bit more leeway. Like, they're faster than C. Lilius. And like, you know, Bryceria has her Immortal to protect her, and Ahmed, you know... Ahmed is the fastest one here. But yeah, Hearthstone pre-ban equals opener is OP. Pretty much. And like, you know, see Lilius and super synergy with Blue Hua-Young, who's really good. Super synergy with all the damage dealers. Ahmed, she's really good with free run. Bryceria, she's also really good with free run. And Bryceria on 3 is becoming more and more common because people like to pick Maid Chloe and Ruel super early. And the best way to punish it is with Bryceria on 3. However, there is counterplay to her, but in general, she is decently effective. Only issue is though, if you want to play these units, you have to be very fast if you want to be high ranked. I play Ahmed at 310 speed, I play Bryceria at 310 speed. I lose almost every single race in Legend. It kind of sucks, but the thing is, you just have to pick them when you know the other person won't race you. as sad as that is, but yeah, very strong units. But you know, you can't just slam them too easily. And then now we have the A tier. So these units, these are the common units that you'll pick in almost every draft. Like Ilinev is still a decent unit. There are a lot of menacing pen units in the game, and Ilinev is still a decent Aureus Knight to deal with them. Same thing with Fallen Cecilia, super good Aureus Knight that blocks a lot of damage. Like she counters Rocket Punch, she counters Renak. She mitigates like Tenebria damage, she mitigates 3F damage, she mitigates a lot. And then we have Genesis Ross. As long as there's no ER Frenzy or like Pen Frenzy, he's a decent unit. However, he's not too good into Maiden Ruel because his damage just gets sustained. But he's still a threatening damage dealer. Cause like there aren't that many that are viable right now. Then we have C. Armin. C. Armin's the best mitigation in the game right now. She'll stop you from dying quite a bit. If there's defense pen frenzy, then you don't have to pick Ilinev anymore. You can just slam C. Armin if the white Tenebria isn't gonna kill you. And definitely a decent unit. And then we have Aram. Aram's like the ideal pick to fight Harseti. A lot of people, if you're being aggressive, they'll slam Harseti on 3 and then Aram's just gonna hard counter them. But also Aram is actually pretty good with free run as well. You can tune your free run to be like slightly faster than your Aram, and then Aram will let her double S3 and murder people. So like Aram is really strong for that as well. Then we have the Dark Hua-Young. She's one of the only units that can kind of deal with certain meta units. Like she can kind of fight Maid Chloe and Ruel. But the slight issue with Hua-Young is that she kind of dies to free run. I mean, she can kind of deal with skills, not really. She dies to Renak, she dies to Arunka. Like she's bad against these big ones, right? But she's decent against stuff like Maid Chloe and Ruel sometimes. And like a lot of people are super debuff heavy and forget to pick like raw DPS sometimes, and then she's good there. She's good against like you know, like Tenebria Belian if you counter. She also sucks against Celine, unfortunately. She also sucks against Ahmed, but like what can you do? But she definitely has a spot, right? Because a lot of people are prone to picking like way too many debuffers, and then that's when Hua Young really shines. Yeah, decent unit. But she has a really bad reputation because she's really hard to play. So yeah. And we have our city here. So Harceti is only good when you pick Fire Flan on 4 with Harceti on 3. As in, Harceti is only good when you are a second pick, because Fire Flan plus Harceti is still a super deadly combo against anyone who's trying to play speed when Harceti is available. So that's the only reason why Harceti is still pickable. Honestly, Harceti on 3 as first pick is awful because good Aram players will just kill you. But people are very greedy nowadays. They will literally slam openers as first pick when Harceti is available. And that's why Harceti's here, because she's the best punish for that. And you know, we have the white Acades. She's okay. She's a cleanser. She can be very high ER. She has self CR push. Mostly usable against Luna and like, you know, high effectiveness debuffers and like if you want to disrupt cleavers, like Acades plus a CR cutter is pretty standard. Same thing with Emerald Ball. I mean, she's a really good disruption unit because people have to worry about getting cut by her. And then, oh whoops, I moved DDR down here because DDR is not very good anymore. He's more of like a late pick debuffer. Then we have Abyssal Yuffie, and she's very common against aggressive players because cutting their CR boost is really important. And like, she doesn't have to be a damage dealer, she can also be a Aureus Knight, and then yeah, and then she can also be a damage dealer if you want, just depends. And then we have Fire Flan. Fire Flan, she's still really good as a late pick, but picking her early is kind of an issue a lot of the times because like if you're forced to like slow down, you're kind of prone to fighting like Blind Hearts Hermia. But she's really strong in late in the draft because your opponent doesn't really have time to counter pick her. Yeah, Fire Flan still really strong as like a 4 or 5 pick for sure. And she has like, you know, big synergy with like the openers, of course. Like Fire Flan plus Bryceria, it's been a thing for like, or it used to be a thing like a few seasons ago. It's still really good. And then we have Setsuka. Setsuka is just really good. Like if you've ever been screwed over by getting your debuff 15%ed, well, now you can get screwed over by having your attack 30%ed and automatically losing the game because you missed a crucial ability, and then she gives your entire team aids with her Beguile and blind debuff. Like imagine you're playing Hua Young, you miss on your S3, your crucial ability is gone, you lose. You're playing ML Celine, you miss on your first Soulburn S1, you lose all your damage, all your tempo, you lose. But imagine playing Frieren, you press S3, and then you miss on 4 targets, you lose. So yeah, Setsuka is a very menacing creature. However, she has a lot of counters, but if you pick her later on in the draft in like anywhere from like 3, 4, 5 pick, she is quite the menace that needs to be dealt with. So yeah, very annoying creature. And then we have Last Rider Crow. Last Rider Crow is slightly better than all the other seasons because his Crown of Glory build is really good to deal with free run. Like free run Bellion is very popular, and Last Rider Crow can, you know, can deal with their AoE and take away their souls at the same time, so it's pretty good. And yeah, that's it for this tier. And now these units, so these units are definitely reserved for very late in the draft. Example, Lionheart Thermia. I wouldn't recommend picking this unit early ever because she has a lot of counterplay, as in killing her before she procs. And then Blue Hua Young is really good with Sea Lilies, of course, but you can never pick her early because, you know, she has way too many counter pick. Like Green Celine is an instant ban for her. And then we have like Fire Ada. We can argue Fire Ada could be like higher up, but you know, Fire Ada, she's pretty good at disrupting some cleaves with Warhorn, and she's pretty good against Fire Tenebria because she can self cleanse. And then she's basically just a reverse cleaver and, like, you know, a disruptor with debuffs. She's a very strong unit. Now Dilibet. Dilibet is okay. Like sometimes people will pick a lot of debuffers that she can deal with. Dilibet's like decent against Priceria. She's okay. No, not the best though. Not as good as she used to be. But definitely okay against some debuffers. Then we have Kayron. Kayron's actually pretty strong. A lot of the cleave units like Emilceline, Freeren, and, like, you know, like the squishier cleave units, they all get one shot by Kayron S3. And he's really tanky with his Shepherd of Chaos artifact that gives him infinite defense and evasion. Yeah, he's a really strong anti-aggro pick. Would highly recommend getting from Point Shop. Oh, actually, I think he passed, never mind. But yeah, super strong pick. But there are some things he can't kill though for sure, like Maid Chloe Ruel. He gets screwed over by them. He's pretty much strictly for fighting all-in cleavers and aggro players. Solitaria is always solid for anti focus, of course. Nothing crazy. She'll always be here. Cause like Fireflan and Emoshu, they're really strong units. And yeah, and then Emoshu is like the premier injury unit. However, she is quite hard to pick with like the popularity of Maid Chloe and FCC, but if you take them away, she's super strong into people slower than you. And she's especially good with Ahmed because Ahmed cycles her really hard with like the Green Senya artifact as well. You have Emo Ball. Emo Ball plus Abyssal Euphine is pretty much the super popular anti-cleave right now. You have like Abyssal Euphine or Fire Poly on 3, and then you have Emo Ball to cut the other team and sleep them to death. Yeah, Emo Ball super solid against you know, cleavers and whatnot. So, yeah, and then Emiki, same thing. She's super solid as well. A lot of people still draft in a way where they get 1v4'd by Emiki, and that's always super valuable. Yeah, a solid unit ever since her release. And Sage Vivian, she's a decent cleave unit as well as like an anti-debuff unit, although she does have a lot of weaknesses, but in a lot of cases she's the best in slot damage dealer because, you know, she's AoE, she doesn't take too much damage. She's immune to debuff. She's okay. She's okay, definitely playable. And then strays is always a thing. If someone plays too slow, if someone doesn't respect omits, like strays is always a good option. If you have a triple torn strays, you can kill through Illinav, or you can kill through Pen Frenzy, which is always a threat. Like some things, like sometimes like a super slow strays is the only answer to breaking through a lot of tank comps, and like, what can you do, right? And we have Dark Aiden. Dark Aiden is a pretty standard pick against like Harsetti. She's also decent against Bellion. Like Dark Aiden can just solo a lot of low damage teams like by herself. And we have Celine. Celine is Celine. Honestly, she's only here because she is decent against. She's a force ban against Blue Hua Young when you're fighting C. Lilius. That's like her best purpose right now. And you know, Candy's here. Candy's here because, you know, she can buff stack you if you have a protection knight on 3 with a shield, of course, and then Candy's gonna give you the anti-crit to prevent your immunity from getting stripped by stuff like the white Genebia, right? She's still a decent unit for buff stacking, but that's about it. Then Emorana, very common last pick for anyone playing opener on 3. Nothing crazy. Archdemon, if you need something, if you need a book holder, if you need to steal something, she's always good. Lua is still a big menace as a late pick because she's still very hard to deal with. She can perma provoke people. The high effectiveness build is pretty trendy right now. So yeah, she's a very strong debuffer that kind of stops the other person from moving. Yeah, pretty menacing unit still. And Peyra, okay, I didn't really like how I didn't really like how I ranked Peyra. I'm not sure what to do with her. I feel like between Ruel, Maid, and FCC, I feel like Peyra is a much worse unit. Like, she's much less threatening. Like, she can't really be a reliable solo DPS. She even loses to Ross. Like, she loses to... Like, she gets dunked by everything. But she can be good sometimes still. But she's definitely not as good as last season. Mostly because Maid Chloe and FCC make her do no damage. But she's just too easy to deal with before she's even, you know, picked. Then same thing with Arya. Arya kinda Arya is not as good anymore. Like, people used to early pick her, but there's no reason to anymore. Like, she's not good into Arunka, she's not good into Free Ren, she's not good into Scales, she's not good into Renac, she's not good into anything. You kind of just pick her to deny someone when they're trying to like get a soul burn win condition or something. Or like Emma Ludwig or whatever. Otherwise, she's pretty whatever. She kind of loses everything in the game besides soul abusers. Yeah, Emma Polly. Oh, Emma Polly is still pretty strong as a late pick for like resource reduction. But otherwise, she's kind of whatever. The other openers are much more menacing right now. Then we have Yoha. Yoha is a decent answer to Free Ren. It's not 100% reliable because, you know, she can get debuffed to death and sealed by like Luna and stuff. But she's an okay answer to Free Ren in some cleaves that do raw damage, because with the Reflect EE you can kind of just one shot them. Otherwise, she's decent. We have A Tywin. Honestly, A Tywin is only here because A Tywin can cleanse but the defense break from Bryceria S3. That's about it. DDR is still sometimes okay when the other person picks 5 tanks. Other than that, it's kind of whatever. Same thing with A Tywin. Elena is here because Elena can counter Bryceria's defense break on S3. And yeah, that's about it. And then Elvira, just like Emopali, she's a good late pick to stop Fighting Spirit, but that's about it. And she also has, I don't know, she also has decent synergy with Scales. Like, Scales plus Elvira is very hard to kill. But yeah. And then Fire Poly, of course. Fire Poly is decent into what's her face, Ahmed. Like, sometimes you can steal wins from like C. Lilius with your crown stun, but that's about it for her. Then I don't know, these units are really niche. That I know there's not much to say about them. I know Laya got an EE, but Laya is Laya. She loses to everything. It doesn't matter what her EE does. And then No, that's wait, did I put green Lilica in this? Well, I feel like I put green Lilica somewhere. Oh yeah, she's right here. But honestly, is Lilica's okay. I see some people do well into Almond with her, but honestly, why pick Lilica when you can pick like ML Baller or something? Because like the thing about Lilica is that you still need Yuffie or Politis, and then like at that point, why would you pick Lilica when you can pick ML Ball instead? I don't know. I feel like she doesn't really have a purpose still, but I guess she cleanses and ML Ball doesn't. Yeah, and then there's not much else to say. Like Milim is pickable in case you need an extinction unit. Same thing with Lilibet. But yeah, there's not much to say about these other units. So yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope it was helpful. I will see you guys next time, and good luck with your climb, of course. I will be posting several guide videos in the coming 2 weeks, so hopefully, and some of those will help. So yeah, have a good night, good evening, wherever you are. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.